Welcome to CATAAlliance TV. We're pleased to have with us again Russ Roberts, the Senior Vice President of Tax and Finance for CATA. Russ is a regular visitor. He also is part of our Teleforum series where we engage clients across the country to look at best practices for the SRED program. And he also gives us those critical updates. So today we're going to look at a number of key areas. The first being, Russ, the CRA Ombudsman. You know, we spoke about that in September. Are there any updates on the Ombudsman in some of your work with him?
Sure. I can talk a little bit about the activities that we are involved in and also our thoughts on the work of the Ombudsman right now. We think this is a very important exercise for CRA. It is the Ombudsman's first systemic review of any program in CRA. So the outcome of this will be, in our opinion, critical to the role of the Ombudsman, how it evolves in the future. We have made a fairly detailed submission on the program, the observations of our members about the program. This submission has emphasized the redress processes, concerns that our members have about whether the redress processes provide an appropriate degree of independent second knowledgeable opinion, sober second thought. We're also commented on comments that we're receiving right now that some of CRA's policies are internalized, that they're not public, and they actually contradict the policies which are public, that have been in place for years. This is particularly concerning in a program which is based on transparency, a policy, where everybody is supposed to be able to know how to file and do it effectively so they can actually book the credits in their thinking, take it into their thinking on their investments. Basically, the Ombudsman is focused on the practices, the operational approaches, and how they effectively and how they influence the program itself. And we have encouraged our membership, and we would encourage those using the program to provide input to the Ombudsman about their thoughts, about what's working, what's not. A number of people have expressed concern about the process itself, and that is that if they put on the table their concerns, there is a little bit of concern about how CRA will respond to this, whether they'll be defensive. We've advised people to go ahead and comment to the Ombudsman, but to make it clear that they do have concerns and ask for sensitivity.
Again, very important door, and certainly very important as a voice of technology that we communicate the members' interests to the parties that are making the decisions. Mm-hmm. Now, a second area, I know, Russ, we've been involved in some of the roundtables and also in discussions with our members across Canada. And we've been picking up some sense of a new research orientation being expressed by some of the reviewers. What's that all about?
We're not certain, to be frank about it at this point. What we've done is, and we first heard about it, and you were with me on that conference call, it was one of our roundtables, and people were saying that they were hearing some very research-oriented comment about what was an advancement in IT technologies. We have followed up since then. We've talked with companies across Ontario. We've also talked with some managers in CRA. It's not really a systemic problem, pretty clearly at this point. CRA is aware of the issue, and I think the discussion is focused really on three aspects of the interpretation. One is, what is a IT technology? What's an advancement? We're back to that question again. How do the three criteria, particularly the uncertainty criteria, how is it employed, how does it work, and how does it establish the basis for deciding when there is an advancement? How does that tie to the advancement criterion? And finally, there is, once again, discussion of the scope. How do you define scope? How broad is it around a project? Where do you focus a project? And how do you avoid the business project and get to the technology project? These are perennial questions. We had hoped they would disappear years ago, and they seem to be coming to the surface again. What we're hearing is that it's associated with bringing in a large number of new hires to the program as reviewers and the retraining of these. We're trying to get our handle about it. We're really interested in where this is going, because if it goes in a restrictive direction, there will be real problems with the program.
Now, Russ, I have two budget questions. First of all, we have the 208 budget, where there was a promise that the current policies would be better aligned with business practices. So I'd like you to comment on that. And then I'd like you to move to any expectations you have with the new budget, which may be coming down in the months ahead. So let's start with the 208 budget and that whole area of alignment.
Well, in 208, there was a commitment made to review the current policies that were in place to see if they could be aligned more effectively with how business conducts SR&ED or R&D in general. Very important goal, because one of the primary concerns of industry at the time was that the review process was not in line with the way R&D was conducted, and that the expectations that some of the reviewers were placing on the way files be documented was totally out of sync with what businesses actually had to do to be effective in developing products. The review has now evolved from the question of whether there should be new policy to where CRA is engaged in the development of a major consolidation, of their policies. It will result in the revision of all policies as far as we can tell at this point. It's a massive project over 2.5 years approximately, from what we hear. And we have been assured that there'll be no policy change. We've also been assured by the minister's staff that there should not be policy change. The question that we are asking ourselves and asking of CRA and the government is, how will the government effectively see that the policies do not change? How do they maintain policy integrity in this important program?
And now maybe a bit of a forecast for the next budget. Have you got any insights? Do you have a wish list?
Well, more closely to a wish list. We really want to see this program stabilized. We want to see the CRA comfortable with this administration, and we are looking for commitments to seeing that this happens. It's an extremely important program, which provides up to $4 billion a year of funding to industry. Efficiently, it's great. When companies can't predict how the credits will be treated in their reviews, there are issues. And what we'll be looking for is continued commitment of the government to the improvements that they have started, and seeing that they become effective as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Well, Russ Roberts has joined us today and provided us a very interesting update on the SRED tax credit program, fundamental to the innovation nation. You'll note, and I want to emphasize, we'll be conducting short surveys. We also have cross-Canada conference calls to engage with the claimants, the members, to hear their experiences in the various geographic locations. Russ is available on a one-on-one basis if you need, again, to review any particular challenges that you're having. So Russ, thanks again.
Thank you.